Hello everybody, Legend for Life here, bringing you guys a brand new video. So today, we're going to be talking about my new addiction, Persona 5. So, Persona 5, oh dear lord. So first and foremost, let me just say that there will be mostly no spoilers. I'm not going to go into spoiler territory. I am going to go into my personal opinion on the characters and stuff, and the story and everything, because I have a lot to say about Persona 5, and I'm probably going to do a separate video to go into discussions on the spoilers territory and stuff. So, let me just first and foremost say that I am a huge Persona fan. I have played every single game in the series, with the exception of Eternal Punishment and the original PS1 version of the original Persona 1. So, I can safely say that I am a huge Persona fan. I have every single game, including Eternal Punishment, even though I haven't played it yet, and I just absolutely love this series. It is so close to my heart, so personal. It's one of my favorite games ever. It's one of my favorite series ever, and it has taught me so much about not only myself, but also the world in general, and just so much other stuff. And it's an incredibly personal series to me. So needless to say, with Persona 5, I was incredibly hyped. I was practically dying to play this game. It was so... There was so much worry that it was going to be bad, but also it was so optimistic that it was going to be good. I was so excited. And this game has not only met every single expectation that I've ever had for the game, but completely demolished it and superseded my expectations. Persona 5 is a near perfect game. It is as near a perfect game as I have ever played. Heck, there's only a few really big issues that I've ever ran into. And they're not even big issues, they're small issues, they're small little nitpicks, but because this game is so near perfect, even the smallest little nitpicks seem like such huge problems. Yet, they aren't. This game, I love it so much. The characters are so incredibly good. I have never felt so connected to a Persona cast before. I liked the Persona 4 cast, I liked the Persona 3 cast, and I liked the Personas 1, 2, and, well, the Eternal Punishment cast. Well, actually, I can't say anything about Eternal Punishment cast. I like their designs, though. I've seen them, their designs, and most of the cast from Innocent Sin is Eternal Punishment, but that's beside the point. So, needless to say, these are easily some of the most well-written and best characters in the entire series, and I can't wait to see how they're going to interact with the older characters in the inevitable spin-offs, to be honest. The game, the way that the characters are handled, most of them are, actually all of the main characters that are like part of the group and everything, the Phantom Thieves, they're all social outcasts. They all have something about them that makes them social outcasts from the rest of the world. For instance, for the main character, he's on probation. He was for falsely committing a crime, and so he's on probation. Nobody wants to deal with him. Then you got like the Ryuji, the school delinquent, and he's like, you know, the general, oh hey, he's a problem child and everything. And you got An, who's 1/4 American, which is actually a really big deal in Japan, because Japan has a stigma against people who are not pure Japanese. Japan is all about uniformity and stuff, and so it's really hard for people to get a job in Japan if they have any mixed blood whatsoever, except for in modeling gigs, because they have a tendency to be seen as a bit of a sideshow attraction, which makes sense that An is a modeler. And then there's just so much. I could talk about the characters for hours and hours, and especially my favorite character, who I can't talk about due to spoiler reasons, which is annoying, but I will talk about him in the spoiler discussion video. Now, the story is also easily the best one in the entire Persona series. Arguably, like, right up there with Innocent Sin. In my personal opinion, Innocent Sin had the best story out of the series until Persona 5, and it's like a tie between the two. They both have really good stories, and it's really hard to choose which one is better. I mean, Persona 4 had a pretty weak story, Persona 3 had a pretty good story, but it had its moments where it wasn't all that great. And Persona 5 has a really just great overall around story. There's quite a few twists. I managed to go into this game pretty much completely blind. Almost completely blind. I pretty much knew everything that happens up until you beat the first boss, and then after that, it was completely and totally blind. I had no idea what was going to happen. I had a pretty good idea who the traitor was, but I was like tied between two characters as to who it was, and then there was something else that kind of made me think, ooh, maybe it's that character, but no, it was the character who I originally thought it was. They don't go too hard to make it super, they make it kind of obvious who the traitor is, and don't worry about the whole traitor thing. They reveal it within the first 15 minutes that there is a traitor, they just don't tell you who. So, I also really like the setup for the story. It's told in a flashback sequence, and it's done in almost the exact same way as freaking Sly 3, and I love that, okay? Where it's like, okay, you start off with your whole gang, you're doing the thing, and then, oh hey, something happens, and now you gotta go and retell the whole story as to how you got up there. And there's like subtle little like nods that, oh hey, this isn't like in the present, it's in the past. Like there are times in the story where, oh hey, it'll like fade out for a second because the character is having, because your main character is having like memory loss due to the intense amount of drugs that the corrupted police department in Japan put into you. And then there's like another subtle little nod where you form a social link with the interrogator who's interrogating you, and then but as you're playing, you don't get the bonuses from a social link until you get up to the point where it catches up in present, because you haven't technically formed a social link with them, which is a really cool nod. Which is not a nod, it's like a small thing. There are a lot of really cool little small things in the game, and I'll get to that here in a minute. But like the way that the story is told and everything, I absolutely love it. The cutting back to present time gets a bit annoying sometimes, especially since it happens every time you form a bond with somebody with the confidants and everything. And then it also happens every now and then in certain key story points, which can get a bit annoying sometimes, but it's also kind of funny to see the interrogator's like reaction and stuff. And like, I wonder when exactly is the interrogator saying all this, like at this particular point. Anyways, so the story is just absolutely phenomenal. I can't really talk too much about it without getting into spoiler territory, but basically, main character moves into new town because he's on probation, and then things happen, and he and his group of friends at high school end up forming the Phantom Thieves, and they steal hearts to change the rotten hearts of the rotten adults. And it's just a really good overall story, and I really, really like it. And it has, again, a lot of twists and turns. Now then, on to the small things that I really want to talk about. I probably should move on to gameplay. Gameplay is your typical Persona thing. It's one half dating sim, one half dungeon crawling, spectacular Pokemon catching. It just worked really well. My biggest apprehension going into this was the fact that they brought back demon negotiation, or shadow negotiation as it should be called in here, because you're talking to shadows, not demons. And I was really apprehensive about it, because if you guys have been watching my Persona 2 Innocent Sin walkthrough, playthrough, whatever, let's play, whatever you want to call it, I don't like negotiations at all. In Persona 2 Innocent Sin, it was clunky, it was messy, it was completely and totally random. I'd do one thing that would work for the demon at one point, and then I'd battle that demon again, do it again, and they'd be like, oh, you just angered me. Like, the demons in Persona 2 Innocent Sin were basically Tumblr. I make car noises. Okay, I'm offended. And I'm like, god dang it. Because Tatsuya makes imitation noises, and it's just really obnoxious. And I was really scared about that, and I was really worried about it. But, however, it's so streamlined so easily. It doesn't take as nearly as long. It doesn't haunt the battle as much, because you gotta knock them down. So you might go a few battles without ever having to negotiate, because you can't just talk to them. You gotta knock them down, point a gun in their face, and say, hey, and then start talking to them and everything. And it just works a lot better. I've seen some people who are like hardcore SMT fans not really like it too much, because they streamlined it a bit too much in their opinion. But I'd rather have streamlined and fun than boring and monotonous, and that was how it was in Persona 2. So it works a lot better in Persona 5 in my opinion. And aside from that, the game is just freaking amazing to play. I normally, like in Persona 4, I got bored of the battles pretty quickly. But in Persona 5, I am having a blast. I could literally just dungeon crawl for hours and just be fine. In fact, I have done that. It just works so well. The stealth mechanics, while very light, work well, and it just is a lot of fun to play with. The shadows, I love it how they're no longer formless things that kind of just wander around. They're now guards that take the form of like knights, policemen, and robots and stuff to like patrol the halls of the palace, and it just works so incredibly well. The voice acting, I should also mention, is spot on. There is not a single bad voice actor in this entire game. The voice acting is just excellent. It's amazing. I love it. It's so good. I don't get the hatred for the voice acting. Then again, it's coming from the people who hate like literally anything that's in English that was originally in Japanese. If you really want to download the 9 GB Japanese voice acting, go ahead. I'm not going to bother because the English voice acting is just perfect for me. It is so incredibly good. Not only that, but also the music. Oh my god, the music is... This is my favorite Persona soundtrack ever. I can't stop listening to it ever. It's ruined music for me because I listen to other music and it bores me, and then I turn on Last Surprise for the 50th time and I'm like, you never see it coming, and then I can't sing for crap, but you get the point. The music is perfect. I listen to Rivers in the Desert in my car all the time as I'm driving around, and it just is so perfect. And then I get weird looks from people in other cars like, what the heck is he listening to? And I'm just like, screw you, it's amazing. The music is so good. Oh my god, there is not a single bad soundtrack. My only issue is that you have a tendency to listen to the same song over and over and over throughout the entirety of just walking around in a town. Persona 4 was really good at mixing up these songs whenever you're just wandering around town and stuff, but Persona 5, for whatever reason, it plays like the same 3 songs, and it gets kind of annoying. But granted, though, as much as I love Beneath the Mask, I would like to hear, like, any of the other songs from time to time. It's kind of obnoxious. Also, my really biggest gripe is the fact that it feels like you don't have as much time. This game has a tendency to take away your time to do things for the story and plot progression. Granted though, the game still gives you plenty of time to get everything done. It may not seem like it, but you still have plenty of time to go and max out all the confidants, okay? And heck, this is the only Persona game that I've ever played so far that I have been able to max out all the social links, or confidants as they're called in Persona 5. I have never been able to do that in Persona 3 or 4, and it drives me insane. Especially since it feels like in Persona 5 they take away more time than they do in previous games. And they do, for story and stuff. They do, like, really, in all honesty, like, a lot of the story things in Persona 3 and 4 took one day. In Persona 5, there's a lot of times where like, oh, we better wait for a phone call, wait 5 days. Oh, hey, phone call, okay, we can do stuff now. And it's so obnoxious sometimes, and it just really is annoying because you feel like you're getting nothing done, but you still have plenty of time to do stuff. And I think that's probably because it feels like social links go by a lot faster, especially in progressive playthroughs, because as you go and do like New Game Plus and stuff, you get items that speed up your social links for the ones that you've already maxed out, so that then whenever you go back through again, you can just speed it up, or you get the bonuses right away, which is really awesome. Which, by the way, that's like the best thing about the confidants now. In past games, social links, or confidants as they're called now, you really only got EXP boosts when making new personas of that corresponding arcana. But in Persona 5, you get other bonuses. Like, for instance, if you decide to go with the, I believe, Temperance, you get to call up the Temperance social link and then get a massage at night after you go into a dungeon, so then you can open up your free time at night, which is really, really awesome, and it's like the first thing that you need to do if you could do this game. Seriously though. The confidant system is just overall better. There was not a single confidant that I didn't like at all. If I had to pick my least favorite, it'd be Shinya, the kids, the towers, social link, confidant, whatever you want to call it. Mostly because he was kind of just annoying. He's a kid character, and he was realistic, but he was also, I'll be honest, like if I had to pick my least favorite voice actor, it was also his, because it just sounded weird. But it was still like good voice acting. It just did not mesh well with the actual character. Now then, with that being all said, this game also has a tendency to really have a lot of small things. Like for instance, whenever the main character steals something, he readjusts his glove. You can notice also for other small things. If you go into, like, if you fast travel into a location where a confidant is, so the loading screens for whenever you're bouncing around town and stuff, is like you riding a train and stuff, and then you see people walking around in that area. For the loading screen. And sometimes you'll see your confidant in that area walking around in the loading screen. And it's just as a small little touch. This game has so many little small little touches that you don't notice at first until you like really start paying attention. That just makes you appreciate the game even more. This game has a lot of tender love and care from the developers in it. And I just really can't appreciate that enough. The game is good, and it knows it's good, and it's all because the developers put their heart and soul into this game, and I can't thank Atlas enough for making it. Oh god. So not only that, but also this is the only Persona game where right after beating it and getting the true ending, I immediately started New Game Plus. Okay, Persona 4 Golden, I took about a week break. Persona 3, I took like a 4 or 5 day break. This game, I went right back into it, and a week later, I beat the game again, and now I'm in my third playthrough, and I just can't stop playing it. I am 4 trophies away from getting that sweet, sweet platinum. I want the platinum, and it's all like super grindy stuff that I don't have. I like read all books, play all video games, and stuff like that, which is annoying, but oh god, this game, it just is so close to perfect. I can't sing its praises enough. If you guys don't already have Persona 4, Persona 5, well, get Persona 4 too if you are able to. But Persona 5, if you guys don't already have it, you're doing an injustice. Get this game. It is an amazing, amazing experience. It is amazing to play. It is an amazing... I can't stop saying amazing. I need to stop saying amazing. It is just flat out freaking superb, omni, mega, awesome, super, mega, amazing. God dang it. It's a 10 out of, it's a 100 out of 10. It's freaking 10 out of 10. It's, oh god, it's like sweet baby Jesus. Not really. But seriously, I can't sing its praises enough. The game, I love it. It's perfect. It's near perfect. The only issues that I had with it were one texture issue and then 2 dialogue issues with there's this one part where you're going up against a boss and the boss is saying something before you fight him and it cuts off. He's like saying something blah 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 and it cuts off and you can still see the text and stuff. It cuts him off like halfway through. It's an obvious audio error. And then there's another obvious audio error that I can't, and by the way, neither audio errors I can talk about at all, because spoilers! But this other audio error, there was this one character that I was talking to, and you can only get this particular dialogue in New Game Plus if you beat the secret boss, and then do the true ending route, and then talk to the special character that shows up in the true ending route. And if you talk to this character, they will tell you about some stuff about the secret boss and stuff. And the dialogue they are saying, like the actual voice actor is saying, and the text don't match up whatsoever. the dialogue the character is actually saying is like, it's like saying, I'm trying to think of a way to like say this without like spoiling. So like, let's say they are saying 1, 2, 3, and the text says ABC. It's so stupid. How could they make a mistake like that? It is so obvious and glaring, and I've not seen a single person mention it on any of the like forums or stuff. And watch, as soon as I say this, I'm gonna go on a GameFAQs and find somebody complaining about it on the forums. But it is such an obvious error. I can't believe they made that error. And then there was one texture pop-in where I was in one of the dungeons, and it looked like the same texture loaded twice. And so it was like a floor texture, and it looked like it's loaded twice, so it was going like this over and over. It was weird. But aside from that, I had no issues. There was no game crashes. There was no bugs or anything that was like game breaking. And honestly, the 3 things I didn't bring up, they were the only reason why they're memorable and like stick out to me is because the game is just so perfect that when it does have an issue, it sticks out. So guys, I could sit here and ramble on about Persona 5 for another hour. I don't know how long I've been standing here and talking about it. But I'm going to end this video here. Get the game if you haven't already. It's amazing. It's near perfect. I want to do some videos playing it on here, but Atlas says no. I'm going to try maybe do a Persona 5 live stream sometime next week, possibly. Maybe even sooner, possibly. I don't know. We'll see. And of course, I will be doing a spoiler discussion to talk about my thoughts on the spoiler stuff that I can't talk about here. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. See you all later. Peace out and goodbye.